This is the second of 2 videos with Jessica Nelson on tax saving strategies for 2002. Tax season can be filled with anxiety and confusion, and 2022 probably won't be any different. Today I will be discussing with Jessica Nelson a variety of tax saving strategies related to investing, health savings accounts, and business owners, just to name a few. I think that you will find her tax insights very beneficial. Now let's talk about some tax efficient strategies that are related to business owners. So I know the first one you wanted to bring up with us is employing your children in your business. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So usually there's restrictions regarding employing children. There's child labor laws, rightfully so. However, when you own your own business, you're actually allowed to hire your child. And what's great about this is, depending on their age and the owners of the business, if it's only owned by you or if it's owned by you and your spouse, their wages may not be subject to FICA and FUTA tax. Additionally, the way that children are taxed is they also get the standard deduction that individual single people do. So what's great is you can pay your child up to the standard deduction and they won't have to pay any income tax. So they're not paying income tax, they're not paying FICA and FUTA, but also your business is getting that deduction from wages.
Wow, so that's already really good, Jessica. But your great insights started to get me thinking about something you said earlier, which is a Roth IRA. It's good to contribute to it when you're in a low tax bracket.
Yes.
I'm thinking most children are in a low tax bracket. So what do you think about a Roth IRA and children?
I think it's a great idea. So with children, they're entitled to the same standard deduction that single people are. So they can earn enough income up until that standard deduction and pay 0% in taxes. So if they're then contributing to Roth, they're paying taxes at their current rate, which is 0%. That contribution then goes and grows, and when they're retired, they get to withdraw from that, also paying no taxes. So this is a very rare opportunity. And if it's available to clients, to anyone, I highly encourage them to do so.
That makes a lot of sense because we have some physicians in our audience who they own their own practice. They might have children who are able to do some work, whether it was like helping with the filing, helping with mailings, various other things. But that would be amazing to put the money into a Roth, pay 0%. You're paying the tax rate. Your tax rate just happens to be a wonderful 0%.
Yeah.
Let it grow for decades and decades. And then when you take it out, it's 0 also.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that if you're thinking of implementing, I highly encourage you to work with a CPA to make sure that we're doing this correctly.
Definitely good advice. Now let's talk about something called a pass-through entity tax. Now this is available to some business owners. So what is this and why could it be beneficial?
Yeah, so the pass-through entity tax is something that various states, including New York, came up with to help bypass the state and local tax limitation. So with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act came the SALT limitation of $10,000, right? So before the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, you were able to deduct all of the state and local income taxes that you paid on your federal returns. However, now that's capped at $10,000. So states like New York came up with the pass-through entity tax, which allows pass-through entities to withhold state taxes for their owners. And what's great about this is by doing so, you essentially get to deduct your state income taxes paid from your federal taxes, completely bypassing the SALT limitation.
Wow, that's really great. And so are there any restrictions on the type of legal entity that the business has to have in order to qualify for this?
Yes, absolutely. So it has to be a pass-through entity. So think of sole proprietor, LLCs, and S corporations. And this can only be done for state taxes. So it's not applicable to local taxes. So if you live in New York City, then you can do your New York State taxes, but you wouldn't be able to do your New York City taxes.
I see. Okay, thank you for the clarification. And are there, of course, this is something complicated too, so you'd want to work with your accountant, you'd want to work with your financial advisor like Altfest. want to make sure it's done correctly and not run afoul of the tax rules.
Absolutely.
However, are there in general any downsides for, like, let's say you're eligible, your entity is eligible, you want to do this. Are there any cons to potentially going through the pass-through entity tax?
So what you really want to think about is this something that your business can do? Do you have the liquidity to withhold taxes for your owners? What's great about this is elective. You do have to elect for it in advance, but let's say it makes sense for 1 year and it doesn't make sense for the other, then opt out of it for the other year. So you can really work with your CPA, you can really work with your advisor to see when this makes sense for you.
Great, so it's wonderful that you have that variability, that optionality depending on how your business is doing that year.
Yeah.
Excellent. Lastly, on the subject of tax, let's talk about a way that Altfest Personal Wealth Management helps our physician clients with their taxes. The firm has developed some proprietary software called FP Alpha. Can you tell us a little bit about what it is and how it helps us help physicians with their taxes?
Of course. So like you said, FP Alpha is a software that the firm has developed, and they work with various experts in different areas, including taxes, estate planning, insurance, and also use automation to help advisors help their clients, right? So one way we use it is with taxes, is the software actually reviews tax returns for us, and it creates a visual snapshot of past taxes. It helps clients visualize what their marginal tax rate is, what their different thresholds that they may apply to them are. But what's also great is it provides certain recommendations. So for example, if it notices that maybe you're not maximizing your itemized deductions, it'll point that out, right? If it notices that, hey, you're at this cusp of a certain threshold, let's say QBI, it will point that out as well. So it's a great way to help facilitate conversations around taxes with clients.
That's great, because as we all know, and especially you know, taxes are so complicated. So any way that we can kind of access the minds of tax experts and then have very clear, easy to understand, actionable recommendations in a fast way and deliver them to our clients, because of course we review everything to make sure it makes sense for the client. The software is great in terms of knowing the tax law. We know our physicians' clients' lives better than anyone.
Yeah.
We can really make a powerful combination.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Jessica, for being on the channel today. It was great to hear your knowledgeable insights on all the areas of tax. I know you've given our physician audience a great deal of food for thought. So thank you very much for everything.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
This is the end of our second video with Jessica Nelson. If you would like to talk about reducing your taxes or anything else related to your investments or other personal financial planning areas with an Altfest professional at no obligation, please contact my colleague Jesse Freeling at 212-406-0850 or by emailing Jesse at his email address, which is in the description of today's video below. If you like this video about providing insights to help physicians optimize their personal finances, please click the subscribe button below so you can receive notifications each time we release a new video. If you think that a fellow physician would like this video or find it interesting or useful, please feel free to share it with him or her. Lastly, as always, this channel is for you. We want to make it as useful and as enjoyable as possible. So if you have any topics you'd like us to cover in future videos, like or dislike something that we're doing right now, or have any other feedback, we would love to hear from you. So please share your comments in the comments section below. Thank you very much. Well, that's all for today, physicians. I look forward to being with you again in our next video. And until then, be well and keep optimizing your finances.